Welcome to the Virginia is for Laughers podcast, brought to you by the Funny Womax and Friends. If you're looking to get more out of your Shenandoah Valley experience, then this is the podcast for you. You'll meet interesting people, musicians, and comedians that perform here and find out more about what you can do and see. Whether you live here or plan to visit, listen to explore what makes our unique slice of heaven. Now here's your host, Don Davis Womack.
Hello, Laughers. Today we have the pleasure of hosting Tisha McCoy Ntiamoa. She is the visionary and chief popcorn enthusiast of Pre-Popsterous Gourmet Popcorn. Pre-Popsterous isn't just about popcorn. It's about a delicious journey crafted with love and dedication. Tisha's journey from a Midwest girl with a penchant for popcorn to the founder of a thriving gourmet popcorn empire is as flavorful as the treats she creates. Her commitment to quality, community, and creativity has made Pre-Popsterous a beloved brand. Today, we'll delve into Tisha's entrepreneurial journey, her passion for popcorn, and the secrets behind making popcorn dreams come true. Welcome to the show, Tisha. It's great to have you on today.
Thanks, Dawn, for having me. Hi, Laughers out there. It's great to be with you all today.
Yes, it is. And this is such a joyous day for me because this is the sponsor of our podcast.
It's me, the girl behind the popcorn.
The girl behind Pre-Popsterous. And we have known each other for, gosh, I don't know, 10 so?
At least
years.
Yeah.
Yes. We met at James Madison University when we both worked there. And now we're both on different kinds of entrepreneurial journeys, but entrepreneurial journeys nonetheless.
Yeah.
And we're both evolving and growing right now and doing this thing together. So I'm excited to have her here today and share her with you and her wonderful self. And let's say we just go ahead and get into the questions.
Yeah. I want to say before we get started, thank you for having me as a part of your journey. I mean, I think as an entrepreneur, a lot of people out there will see the entrepreneur and see that it looks like we all have it figured out. We have it all together.
We're both laughing.
It's like the Wizard of Oz. Do not pull back the curtain. There are lots of things happening behind there, but I've enjoyed our journey together and watching each other and supporting each other along the way. And so I just appreciate you having me as a partner on the podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. I feel exactly the same way. Mm-hmm. We've had so much fun laughing and crying together.
Yes, because things can go really great. And that's, great celebrations. We've had some of those. And then when ish just goes awry, we can commiserate with one another.
I love that you remembered our brand was PG-13 right there.
Clean-ish comedy.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what we are. I think it's interesting to me that you come from the Midwest. I lived in Lansing, Michigan. Where did you live in the Midwest? Chicago, right?
Well, I was born in Chicago, just north of Chicago, but I grew up and spent all of my formative years in Kansas City, Missouri.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Go Chiefs. Sorry, I had to sneak that in.
I see. But there is where, or your experience growing up in the Midwest is where you got your passion for doing popcorn. And I wondered if you could just share some pivotal moments in your journey that inspired you to pursue the dream of this. Yes, of this.
So, I grew up in Kansas City, and there, at the time, was one brand there, Topsy's Gourmet Popcorn, and I worked for that company. Back in those days, you answered the help and ad in the help wanted section.
It is different. Yeah.
There was no online job listings, but I answered an ad. I think I was 16. I was in high school and I was looking for my first job, and answered that ad, and it ended up leading to my love of gourmet popcorn. So I actually worked for that family during the season. It was a franchise store, and I worked for that family during the holiday season. And that one year, that first year, turned into me working for them every holiday season, the winter holidays, Christmas, New Year's, through college, when I went to college. So I must have been a sophomore in high school, maybe. And then I finished up right when I went to college, but then when I got in college, they still needed help, so I would go back home. I went to the University of Kansas, so I wasn't too far from home. and work for them. And then I would, jump in there on spring breaks when that family wanted to take their kids on spring break trips. And I knew then there was just something about serving popcorn and drinks to people. They were never mad at you. Mm-hmm. You were always their happy spot in their day. Our store was in an office / shopping building. And so, we always got that 3:00 rush where people just needed that afternoon pick me up. And I loved everything about it. And I said, one day I want to create my own brand, have my own company. And I did. And when I came here, I actually thought I would franchise a couple of brands. There's a couple of different brands out of the Midwest that I checked with, but nobody wanted to franchise out here. So I just said, well, fine, I'll create my own brand. I'll teach myself how to make the popcorn. Which in that store was a retail only. We popped fresh popcorn, but we didn't make the gourmet flavors in that store. So I had to teach myself all of that process over the years to perfect our recipes here.
Now, here's a burning question in my mind right now. What was the first experience of popping popcorn? Did it go perfectly and smoothly, or just... Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I can tell you this, if for those that are on camera, this machine behind us, to my left, is my very first machine.
Oh, really?
Yes, that's the first machine. So that'll be in the museum of pre-popsters one day. Right now, it's just occupying space here, and it still works.
Okay,
but it's a machine that you can pop and caramelize in. So it has two different settings. And so that was my very first machine, and I've just grown since. But the feeling of it was just kind of I was ready for the journey. I was ready for the ride, and to see what all I could create and accomplish, and how far I could make the business grow.
Yeah. You're doing a great job, and you have you're welcome, and you have a very unique name. Pre-Popsters.
Pre-Popsters. Don't forget that second P in it.
I got reminded that early on when she was sponsoring me. She's like, you're not saying a P.
Well, here's the thing.
I got it down now, I think.
When you say pre-popsterous, you will then have a hard time saying the real word, because pre-popsterous is not a real word. Preposterous is the real word. And so you'll have a difficult time then going back and saying the real word, which I think is really funny. But you had a question behind that. What was your question for me?
Oh, yeah. So how did you come up with the name?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Pre-Popsters.
So that's a funny story. I actually had a different name in mind when I first was conceptualizing the company, and realized when I went to go incorporate the company that somebody had trademarked that original name a year and a half before. And I was shattered because I thought it was such a clever name. And so I just didn't know how I could come up with another clever name. So I got partnered with a graphic designer, actually, and he connected me to a copywriter. And he said, let him help you come up with ideas. And so I gave him parameters, and here were I had 3 parameters. It had to be one word. It had to be whimsical, because I wanted popcorn. Popcorn is just fun and whimsical, and I wanted it to be indicative of the name. And it had to have the word pop centrally featured in the word.
Okay.
Right? That's tall order. Those are some pretty specific parameters with not much
my pay grade
wiggle room. And we went through about 4 rounds. He generated, must have been about 250 to 300 different names and concepts.
Wow.
And
that's very significant.
Yeah. And so he nailed it. And originally I thought we didn't, because we got to round 4 and I went back to the graphic designer and I said, this isn't working. He isn't coming up with anything. And the graphic designer, to his credit, said, go back, pull all the lists out, go back one by one by one, and say all of them out loud. And it was in the 3rd round.
Wow. So you knew when you said it out loud,
I knew it.
Wow.
I knew it was so special. So I went ahead and trademarked it, because I knew I wanted to carry this brand over state lines, and I knew I never wanted there to be any brand confusion about the product. And and the brand. So I trademarked it right away.
Good job. Proud of you. Yeah. And speaking of delivering across state lines, you can order Prepopsterous online right now, right?
You can. Prepopsterous.com, or just type in your friendly Google search, Prepopsterous, and you'll land on our page. And you can go online. You can order gift boxes, gift tins. So you can customize all of those things. We have dividers that go inside the tins. So you can get up to 3 flavors in those. And we have several flavors available on the website. We've got favor bags. So if you're in the market for something that's whether it's a wedding favor or a baby shower favor or some special event, we have bags that size. We can do party packs. Or if you just want to order in bulk. A lot of people just say, I just want to order in bulk and I just want to pour it into my own dish at home or whatever event you're having. You can order in bulk as well online.
And so corporate gifting.
Corporate gifting has been our thing.
I've noticed.
I can't say just yet, but we have just recently entered into a partnership with a major resort to be their gifting item for their guests that check in. And we're really excited about that. So we do, especially around the holidays, but throughout the year, we can accommodate any kind of corporate gifting requests for whether it's your VIP clients, it's employees, Employee Appreciation Day, Administrative Professionals Day, all of those gifting occasions. Teacher appreciation is coming up soon, and we've been known to do popcorn bars in schools to go in and set those up. So we've got lots of options. Everybody loves popcorn, but I can tell you 2 people that will not eat popcorn. There's only 2 populations, friends, that don't eat popcorn.
Oh, do tell. What are the 2 populations?
The first one are people that might have some dental issues,
right? Yeah.
Because the holes from the kernels get in their teeth, or if they have dental implants or stuff. So the holes aren't very friendly. And then the other are those that can't digest the holes, so they might have diverticulitis. So for all my friends out there, I'm so sorry. But those are 2 populations that don't eat popcorn, but everybody else pretty much eats popcorn.
I know I eat popcorn. I'm eating a lot of her popcorn these days.
I know you every one of these podcasts you do.
I know, and it never gets old. I'm telling you that right now. It's so good. In fact, my husband said, "Do not leave Tisha today without bringing popcorn home."
Oh man, and I have none made in the factory right now.
But your shop's close by, so I'm going to stop by there on the way home.
Okay.
And satisfy the professor.
I don't think we told the laughers at the top of the show. We're actually coming to you today from the manufacturing space of Prepopsterous. So for those watching the YouTube video, you're getting some glimpses of it. But for those listening by audio only, we are coming to you from the depths of Prepopsterous. It's where the magic happens.
Thank you for saying that. I was about to say that. Great minds think alike. Yeah, I'm so excited to take the B-roll after this of her popping popcorn. This is a fun job, people, and I'm glad you're here doing it with me. Yeah. You're known for your quality and your freshness, and the fact that you work with local farmers to get your kernels. Can you tell us more about your commitment to doing that and why you're so committed to doing that?
Yes. We're really excited and very fortunate to have a farmer nearby, just 10 minutes from us, that grows our popcorn kernels. So we source exclusively from him. So many people may not know there are so many varieties of popcorn out there. And the one people are most familiar with is what's called a butterfly kernel. And it's because when it's popped, it looks like it has little butterfly wings. And that's what you mostly get at your movie theaters. For gourmet popcorn, we're using what's called a mushroom kernel. And it's called a mushroom kernel because it pops up in a dome. So it's much more round. And that's necessary because when it's going through the flavoring process in the big kettles with the heated mixtures and things, there's these big baffles or paddles, if you will, inside that machine. And the roundness of the mushroom kernel allows, it can tolerate that kind of vigorous process of going around and getting coated. Whereas if it was just butterfly kernels, it would all come out as crumbled coated pieces. And so we like that. Our popcorn, like it's a substantial kernel when you get it and you look at it. So we source locally, and in part as a result of that, we just recently received our designation as a Virginia's Finest product.
Yeah, you did.
Which we're
Congratulations.
really excited. Thank you. We're really excited about that because it's just our commitment to supporting the agriculture in our state, and Virginia is known for its agriculture. As far as freshness, so when we pop, we are popping and then packaging within 1 or 2 days of it coming out of the kettle. So at our store where we have our grab and go options, all of that popcorn is packaged on the grab and go stand within a day or two after. I say a day or two because the sweet flavors can pretty much go in as they cool down and things. The cheddars have to dry for about
that's
dry or
interesting.
cure for 24 to 48 hours before you put them in the packaging.
Wow, I did not know that. Why is that? What is the difference between the two? Why can one go in right away, but the cheddar has to dry?
So for the caramelized flavors or what we call the sweet flavors, once they cool down, they're hardened, right? It's just like a candied coating on a popcorn kernel. And so once those cool down, there's no more risk of them sticking together otherwise you end up with a giant popcorn ball, which
some
popcorn
people
balls
like.
are kind of controversial. We can talk about that another time.
All right,
I get asked why I don't make those. But
now I want to know that too. But go ahead first with this.
But the cheddar mix has oil in it, and so when you mix oil and you mix cheddar powder together, that it's more like a liquid paste, and so it just needs to cure on the kernel for 24 to 48 hours. So it dries a little bit and dries more to a powder.
Okay, now why do we not make popcorn balls? This is so fascinating to me.
So let me clarify. I can make popcorn balls. If someone asks me for popcorn balls for a custom order, I will gladly make them.
All right.
I don't tend to make them because as a kid, when I ate them, well, one, you only saw them around Christmas time, the winter holidays. But when I would eat them, they always just like tore up the roof of my mouth. To me, they were so harsh. So I never have really gotten into making them consistently because I always wondered if other people had
the same experience.
But they appear to be a very big thing at the holiday season.
Okay.
So I don't know if people are actually eating them or if they're using them as ornaments on their Christmas tree. I have no idea. Or maybe, kids are packing them inside a snowball and really lighting somebody up. I don't know. Lots of uses for popcorn balls.
Right? Sounds like it could be a weapon. Now listen here, laughers. If you've tried a popcorn ball, you like popcorn balls, you know about popcorn balls, you can make comments on this video and tell us about it. We would love to hear about that. You know what else I think right now?
What's that?
Needs to happen? I think we need to taste the quality and the freshness of these locally sourced kernels. And it just so happens that I have popcorn from our sponsor, Pre-Popsters Popcorn.
Right there.
Right there. I'm sure you've had your own popcorn. Tell us about this.
I have. So this one you're eating is called our spring mix. And it is kind of like fruity. It's fruity flavors. So you've got strawberry, grape, I see key lime, and there's a version that has vanilla mixed in there as well. And so it's just a lot of fruit flavors mixed together. It's spring colors, and it's good. It's just something fun and different. We kind of just do this in the spring season, and then it kind of goes away, but it's just a fun little
round Easter,
pop colored round Easter. Yep.
I didn't know it was the spring mix.
It's called spring mix.
Oh, she's got some.
On the other hand, I'm just reaching in the kettle over there. I don't do this normally, but this is our fresh popped popcorn. I'm going to end up with it all over the table.
That was quite all right.
I do love some good fresh popped popcorn.
I'm so glad you told us this was spring mix. because if you watch an earlier episode, the guest was asking me what it was called. I did not know. So now we know, laughers. Then you can go back and figure out which one that is. Oh my God. These are so good. This is absurdly flavorful indeed. I love your popcorn. Their factory is 100% nut-free. They're Shenandoah Valley's only award-winning popcorn. You've heard they just got the Virginia Finest trademark. And it does make a perfect gift for literally any occasion we talked about earlier. And top of all of that, Pre-Popsterous is offering laughers a 15% discount. Just use promo code LAUGH15 when you visit prepopsterous.com. That's prepopsterous.com. And that way you can munch on it when you join me on next week's episode.
It's some good food.
It is some good food.
Fibrous, you know.
Right? Delicious.
Delicious. I do want to say a note about the nut-free because I get asked this all the time.
Oh, good. Let's add that in.
And why we are nut-free.
Oh,
so when I started the company, my son, my second child, had a lot of food allergies. A lot. And I also noticed in the schools you couldn't have snacks, especially when, you know, they're doing birthday celebrations that contain nuts. And so between those two things, I made the decision to be 100% nut-free. And what that means for us is we don't allow nuts in our factory at all. There are companies out there that will make a nut-free popcorn, but it's still made in a space that contains nuts or processes nuts in some way. So we have no nuts in our factory at all. We don't allow them. And then we don't have any ingredients. So as we source our ingredients, we're always looking for products that don't contain nuts and are not manufactured in a space that contains nuts or processes nuts. So we are really, really, really committed to that.
Yes. And I find that a lot of people that I meet enjoy the fact that it is 100% nut free. I hear a lot of, oh, good. Yeah. Which is great.
And I will say, another thing, people ask what we pop our popcorn in. We do pop it in a coconut oil blend, but that coconut oil blend does not contain tree nuts. So if you would if you ever have a question about that, reach out to us. We'll be happy to provide you our manufacturer statement that shares that it doesn't have any nuts in it.
This is another question I'm so curious about. What is that process like? Because I'm a comedypreneur. I don't make popcorn or products per se, so or food related product items. Is that a big process, labeling and getting that kind of designation? What kind of labor is involved when you're putting together a food product that you want to serve? Because it seems like you got to get the label with how many grams of sugar, etc.
You're talking about a nutritional panel.
Thank you. I need help all the time, laughers. Laughers are like, I think what she's trying to say is nutrition label.
We are working towards getting our nutritional panels done because we are an agricultural product. We don't, in the state of Virginia, we're not required to have those done. But it is something we want to do and we want to be able to offer to our consumers. So we are starting to work through Virginia Tech because they have a food science lab that will assist us in doing that.
To figure out what the actual composition is.
So we have to send, and it gets to be a painful process in the sense of you've got to send every single recipe of every flavor. And we have, we probably have close to 20 flavors now.
Oh my gosh.
And
That's
you've got to account for, what are those? I'm drawing a blank. Extracts. Sorry. Flavoring extracts that we might use. So you have to account for all those things and then send them in, and they make you type it in a website. And that part is a little tedious, but we are committed to getting it done. And so we have that in process.
Yeah, there's so many parts to your business. And you mentioned the flavors. You have 20 some flavors now. How do you come up with a new flavor? What is that process like? The tasting and testing and perfecting of it. Walk us through when you say, okay, I want to try this new flavor. What happens next?
Yeah. So that's the beauty of owning my own business is because I can say, I want to try this new flavor. Great. I'm going to do it. And it's really that simple.
Beauty of being your own boss.
Yeah. So true story, gingerbread, which is our most popular holiday flavor, was a flavor that I want to say back in 2018, back further than that, 2017.
Okay.
16 or 17, I created, and it was simply because I was just sitting there one holiday season and I thought, what's the ubiquitous flavor of the season? And gingerbread and peppermint were the two that came to mind. And I decided to create them. And I tested for gingerbread. I tested probably 3 batches before I felt like I really nailed the flavor. Cause you've got to get the right blend of spices in there. You know, there's some cinnamon and nutmeg and ginger and cloves and, and so you have to get the right balance of those flavors. And then with peppermint, and this kind of remains a secret, I wanted the peppermint to be speckled. I didn't want it to be red or white. I wanted it to look like peppermint. And so I devised a way to be able to make it look like peppermint.
And how do you do that, or do you want to keep that a secret? Oh. It does look like that too, Laughers. It's one of my favorite parts or times of the year is when I can taste test the gingerbread and peppermint. Very fun. And then you do personalized popcorn blends too. So somebody can say to you, I want whatever flavor, and will you be able to do just about any request, or do you have to, are there some parameters or limitations?
I'm always open to trying.
Okay.
And working with them and being honest with customers if I feel like I can really achieve that flavor and it be a quality flavor. I want it to taste good, not just, I want green apple flavored popcorn just for the look of it, but I really want it to taste
like green apple,
green apple, and have that good buttery undertone, tender center of the kernel. I want people to want to eat it and want to continue eating it. So I'm always looking to strike that fine balance between too sweet. There are some flavors that I would say are just too sweet. You're not going to eat a whole lot of it in one sitting. Whereas I try to stay on the side of, let's create flavors that if somebody opened an individual serving size bag, they are likely to sit there and eat it in one sitting.
Which I do frequently.
And so there's some flavors that don't lend themselves to that. Like I probably would struggle with the idea of making an orange flavored popcorn, for instance.
Now, why would you struggle with orange flavor versus green apple?
Because green apple is a fall. Like you can attribute it to a season, right? You're thinking caramel apple, green apples,
right?
So for that reason, we actually only have green apple and caramel apple pie in the fall. We don't do those year round. But orange, there's not really a season
to associate with.
Yes.
Okay. And you just find that works better. It does. It works lovely, by the way. I enjoy it. It's like, I get to change up the variety of popcorn I eat on this podcast, and I thank you for that. I appreciate that. At the heart of what you do, and I see you do it all the time, you're active in the community. That's very important to you. Can you tell us why, in what ways you're involved and why that's important to you?
So different ways we're involved. We've done fundraisers in our area for our Little League team. Sometimes schools will call us and say, hey, we're having a field day, especially if they're not for profit. Can you work with us on, we just need plain popcorn. And one of my most favorite stories is I have a friend that works at a private school here in town, and she made a post a few years back that she burned microwave popcorn because she was popping individual bags of popcorn to amass enough popcorn to serve to like several classrooms.
Oh, wow.
And I just thought, I saw her post and I messaged her and I said, for the 5 hours it's going to take you to do that, I could accomplish that for you in about 10 minutes. And so I've been supplying them popcorn.
Oh, that's great.
Then. So, we are always open to trying to work with our nonprofits in the area. I'm particularly partial to things that involve school age kids. And so working with them, anything that supports our teachers in the classroom. I'm very open to that because our teachers don't get enough recognition for what they do and how they care for our children daily. And so, we just try to support where we can. Now, we are a small business, so support doesn't always mean we give away product for free.
Right.
But it does mean that where we can look at reducing our costs to make it more affordable for those organizations.
And you're expanding in your business and evolving. You have sodas too.
Yes.
The sodas weren't there at the beginning when you started the business. They came along a little bit later. And these sodas are available in your shop, and you take the sodas to fairs and festivals also, right? So talk to us about your sodas.
So our gourmet sodas are, I like to say they're really simple to put together, but it's the experience. So we do the fresh squeezed fruit on site. So customers are watching us build their drink essentially. So fresh squeezed juice, and I would say cherry limeade is probably our most popular one. So we're squeezing limes. We are adding our own house-made syrups. Sometimes it's a simple syrup. Yesterday we were at an event and we had our ginger syrup. So we made ginger lemonades.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, so good. That ginger, I could drink that ginger syrup by the shot. Really, I could. If someone allowed me. And so we're always looking to create different flavors. So and we round it out with carbonation. So we have carbonated water going into that drink, which essentially, your everyday Coca-Cola, that's essentially what it is, a flavored syrup and carbonated water being mixed together. But we just love the idea of building it for the customer so they can see it. It's really fun to see little kids watch their drink being made. They are just mesmerized by it. And it always puts a smile on my face. And people can create their own flavor. So if we have several different fruits and we have several different house-made syrups, they can create whatever combination of soda they want.
That's really awesome. What inspired you to add the sodas to what you offer?
Yeah. Sometimes you go into popcorn stores and all they sell is popcorn. And I've always thought you need something to wash it down with. You need something to complement it, because you do end up with kernels in your mouth. And then I'm thinking, well, how do I get these to wash down too? So that was part of the plan. And then probably more on a selfish level, it was just another opportunity for me to express my creativity.
There you go. Yeah.
I can't draw to save my life.
Neither
I cannot.
Don't ask either one of us
to save my life. But give me some sugar and something I think would be fun to make, and I'm all in.
Oh, that's great. Then running a business and growing a business can be very challenging. What would you say are some of your biggest obstacles that you have faced so far, and then how did you overcome them?
I think you can, when you're starting a business, you are doing all the things, all the parts, right? And I think you can do that for so long, but when you're at a point where you are really trying to grow and scale, it is really difficult to maintain that, do all of the things. And when I say things, I'm meaning you're making the product, you're packaging, you're shipping, you're doing your financial books, you are sourcing ingredients, you're doing the social media marketing, all of those things. And at some point you just can't do all of those things. And I think that's a hard when you've done it all, it's hard to let go of those things.
I agree with that.
And not only let go, but it's hard to find the right person to let them go to. And so I would say staffing is, or it's not even staffing, because a lot of them are not like with you on a daily basis. They're off remote doing something, but it is finding the right person that understands the vision for your business and how you want to move forward. And they are doing the things for the daily upkeep, but they've also got the foresight to see where you're trying to go and to help you implement tools and structure and planning to get you there. So letting go of things has probably been my most challenging part. Also for me, taking the risk. I will take so much risk, but I will take enough risk where it's only detrimental to me if it doesn't work out. I'm not willing to risk my family's savings.
I got you.
And any of those things to, I just realized there are many things bigger than me in this business that I also have to watch out for and look out for. So I don't take as many risks. I wish I could be like some of these craft brewers out here that just go out and get the $1 million loan and make it happen and figure it out along the way. I don't have the stomach for that kind of debt. So I take more of the road of small investments, incremental steps, and I'll get there one day.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, I'll get to where I want to be. But I will say the other challenging part for me is my vision is really big, and I feel like I'm living in a small corner of it.
I can relate to that.
That's a hard place to be. But I also have to keep in mind I'm raising kids and maintaining a household, things like that.
Exactly. I can totally relate to that. You've accomplished so much so far, though. You've been involved in the Shenandoah Valley Small Business Development Center, and you won the What's Cooking competition.
Yeah, that's what started this all.
I know. So what was the What's Cooking competition? What did it involve? And how did you win?
Yeah, so the What's Cooking program was a Shenandoah Valley Small Business Development Center program back in 2014 into 2015. And at the time, Harrisonburg had been designated a culinary district. And the SBDC said, okay, well, let's put some supports behind people that have culinary concepts to see if we can help them actualize and make those things happen. And so I entered that program. I'll never forget, it was a JMU colleague that reached out to me and said, hey, you should do this. And actually, she suggested I do it for bread because I was known on campus for
making
baking.
Bread.
Yes, like this amazing cinnamon raisin bread. And I think even cupcakes and cakes, because at the time I was taking a cake decorating class or something. And she said, you should enter for this. And I don't think she knew there was a popcorn dream in the back of my head. So I entered for that. And I went through the program. Amazing program. The SBDC is just an amazing organization. So many resources. And I encourage anybody that's looking to start any type of business, reach out, start there. But I went through the program with several other business owners or people with culinary concepts. And we had kind of this friendly competition in the end. Kind of like a friendly version of Shark Tank, where the community could come out, and so that's what happened. And for those that are local and are familiar with the restaurant Boboco Indonesian Cafe, that restaurant came out of that program as well.
Oh, great!
So I think Boboco and Pre-Popsters were the two programs launched out of, or two businesses launched out of that program.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I think the ceremony or the end was at the theater on campus.
Oh no, that's a different one.
Okay.
That the ceremony for What's Cooking was at Court Square Theater.
Okay.
You are talking about a marketing competition.
Yes, because you won that one too.
Yes, I won that one.
Because I saw that myself.
Oh, okay. Yes, that was called Spark Tank.
I was there. Okay, so that's like, all right.
Yeah, and I want to say it started out with well over 100 entries. I think 10 of us made it to the final, and I won the final competition.
I know. She just keeps winning stuff. Don't lose out. Get this popcorn. I'm telling you. And as an entrepreneur, you wear many hats. It reminds me, you were talking earlier that I have a business coach right now who said, I am the CEO, Chief Everything Officer.
Yo. So true.
Isn't it?
It's so
Oh
true.
my gosh. And so you wear so many hats. What are some of the most rewarding aspects of being the owner and the chief popcorn enthusiast for Pre-Popstress?
I think the interaction with customers. You know, so the store, the retail store is inside the North River Marketplace.
Yes.
Here in Bridgewater. And I'm not there as much on a regular basis anymore because there's other people running the store, but you can still go in and get popcorn and they can help you. But I still do pop-ups around town and at different events and festivals just because I love that customer interaction. So that's one of the more rewarding parts. Yeah, that is the most rewarding part. I would say because it's
she was
all
like,
about
I can't
the
think of anything
customer.
else. Me too. I'm about the peoples.
Yeah,
that's
it's
why I
all
love
about
you,
the customer.
laughers.
We love you, laughers.
We do. I'm a people person. She is too.
Yeah. Because I mean, I can make popcorn all day, but if I don't have customers, if I haven't, created some kind of excitement with the customer, then what do I really have? So the customers are really important, and especially the little kids. I love the little kids.
Little kids.
I love the little
I got a mama heart. I can't help myself.
I love the sampling. I often sample our flavors, so I'll take samples that people can try, and I just love that interaction and to see what people think.
She's struggling with some allergies right here that can get pretty intense in the spring in Virginia. So if you struggle with allergies, you have a sister right here who understands the struggle.
Yes, I'm not crying for those watching on YouTube. I'm not crying as I'm dabbing my eyes. It's just
they're watering from allergies.
Yes.
What are some future aspirations and goals for Pre-Popstress on the horizon that you can divulge to us today?
Yeah. So the big goal, I said I'm living in a very small corner of my vision. The big goal is to grow Pre-Popstress into a snack foods company.
Oh, that'd be great. So more of this kind of size.
No, just more products, a variety of products.
Oh, okay.
And so that's the intent. So right now we've got popcorn, we've got sodas. Our next thing that we have launched, soft launch, but we're doing more of, is marshmallows.
I know, marshmallows now. Popcorn, sodas, now marshmallows.
Yes. And I'm going to reach in here very carefully.
Wow, it's marbly.
Making this, yes, for those watching on YouTube. There you go. There's your squish factor.
I love squishing things.
But making gourmet flavored marshmallows. Because it's a way it's a way to feed my creativity. Again, I love making popcorn, but and every now and then I need to add something a little extra. So I make gourmet marshmallows now, and we've been soft launching those for a couple of months, and then we mainly have them at pop-ups. People love them at pop-ups because you can make your own marshmallow kebab. But people are so amazed by the flavor. If you have never had a fresh made marshmallow, find somewhere where you can. These are not available online yet, but we are working to make them available online. But they're just so good.
I had a chocolate flavor earlier before we pressed record. Delicious.
They're just melting in my
There's
mouth.
nothing left.
I'm eating cotton candy right now.
How do you make a marshmallow? Is it a hard process? Does it take long?
It's not a hard process.
Okay.
It's a timing, getting the right timing, and then the cutting. You'll see these big guitar cutters over here.
I do
these
see
things
them.
are from Italy.
Wow.
They were made in Italy and shipped over. And that's in a lot of chocolatiers. Like, this is what high-end chocolatiers are using to cut their marshmallows in a uniform shape and things.
I'm sorry,
so
what's a chocolatier?
Oh, people that make chocolate.
I assumed that, but
Yes.
just wanted to double check myself.
People that make those high-end Belgian, like,
The gourmet.
chocolate art, gourmet chocolate. Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's not a hard process. It's just, it's kind of, the science behind it. You got to have the right combination of ingredients. You've got to whip them for so long, but you can't over whip them. Don't over whip them.
You found that out.
Yes, because then they'll deflate. So there's a little bit of science in there. It's just like popcorn. It's
Is it as fun to make as popcorn?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Oh, like she really lit up with that.
I do. I love it. And the best thing for
Yeah.
me, at least, is because a lot of the ingredients are the same, minus the kernel. So, it's let's be honest, people. Marshmallows are gelatin, sugar, and air.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it is.
I still love them. Not much to it, but I love them.
But a lot of that, minus the gelatin, I'm using in popcorn. So I have a crossover of ingredients where I didn't necessarily have to buy into a whole new product line of ingredients.
That's good. Yeah, I'm so glad you've added those to what you offer. Pretty fun. Look at her. She's loving it. What kind of flavors of marshmallows do you have right now? You've got chocolate, I know, because I had that earlier. I see strawberry. That marble, what flavor is that you're eating right now?
So this is cotton candy.
Okay.
The strawberry actually has real strawberries in it, like pieces of strawberry. I have vanilla over here, and vanilla has the specks of actual vanilla because we make our own vanilla bean paste that goes into those. And so for that, it's very similar to making the syrups for the sodas, right? We're making those key additives. And then the one over here is hot honey. So we use hot honey or spicy honey.
I was going to ask, does that mean it's spicy?
Okay.
Well,
no. It tastes like honey, and on the very, very back end of it, you taste just a little heat. Like you're eating it and you're finishing the marshmallow. And you're sitting there, you're like, that was something a little extra that I wasn't expecting.
Interesting.
And so it's very honey flavor forward, and it's just got a little hint of that heat on the back.
On the finish. Wow. I don't know how you do all these things. It's pretty amazing. I love it all. For those laughers out there that are aspiring entrepreneurs, perhaps they want to start a food product business themselves or just a business, what kinds of advice? Let's focus on the food. What kinds of advice would you give the entrepreneurs that want to enter into the food industry?
Start with your Small Business Development Center.
That came up again.
I cannot say that enough. I don't make a major decision without consulting my advisor there. And then I would also say be very, very clear about what it is you're offering, right? Popcorn, I have intentionally made the decision not to chase a lot of things in popcorn. So I am intentionally nut free. I have a hard time envisioning a day when I would not be committed to that anymore. So I'm very clear in that vision. The other thing, so be very clear about what you will and won't do. I don't do the chocolate drizzle, the peanut butter drizzle, the whatever flavor drizzle on my popcorn. I don't do any of that. And I have a hard time seeing the day that I would ever consider doing that. I'm a popcorn purist, so I believe in the flavor being cooked into the popcorn. So you for Popsters, you're going to find that flavor in the coating on the popcorn that's embedded in it, as opposed to it being drizzled on after the fact once it's done.
I see.
So I'm very clear about what I will and will not do. I mean, I do leave room for growth and opportunities, but there are some things that I'm like, yeah, no, I know I'm not going down that path. And if that's the product you want, I can refer you to a company. I'm happy to refer you to a company that'll give you that, but that's just not my jam. Other recommendations. Be willing to put in the work.
I would say that too.
Be willing to put in the work. It is, entrepreneurship can be very glamorized. And I feel like at times it is. But there's a lot of work. There's a lot of worry. There's a lot of, ideas coming to you in your dreams, and you just have to like wake up in the morning. You got to be okay with sleeplessness. And maybe this is why I've done so well with it, is because when I started my company, I just had my second kid. And so I was already not sleeping anyway.
I remember those posts too.
So I would just
can't sleep at 1:30, so time for popcorn. I mean, there's a lot more advice out there, but I think you just have to be committed to your vision, and don't let anybody talk you off of or out of your vision. And you just gotta put in the hard work. And then equally as important is knowing when is that point that you know you can let go of some things, or this is a really big one. Once you're on your path and you start to realize things that are no longer work, and by no longer work I mean maybe they're no longer profitable, you no longer enjoy doing them, they're not meeting a customer need, don't be afraid to let those things go. Just get rid of them. Stop making that thing. Stop putting the energy, the effort, the cost into it. Just let it go so you can free yourself up in your time, right? You free your time up and your talents up to work on the things that are getting that great response from customers, or are the things that you really enjoy doing. Better words could not just have been said. I'm telling you, I am going through some of that right now. So we're getting ready to shift. You may even notice that the logo changed in the lower right-hand corner. So no longer.
What the fluff? What you say, Dawn?
Yeah, what the fluff, Indy? Probably wondering what in the heck happened to X2 Comedy, and now it says Fwaff Show.
The Fwaff Show.
Fwaff Show.
I just love saying that.
It's so fun to say, laughers. And Fwaff is Funny Womax and Friends. So my husband is a professor at James Madison University. He is now also a professional comic, and he has been doing comedy with me for 3 years now. And so things look a little different in our house and the direction that we're going. And we still want to, do shows where it's just us, and we do that. But we still want to do shows with all the wonderful comics that have graced the X2 Comedy stages over the last 5 years, who are all our friends. And it just makes sense. Our friends are people like our sponsor, Pre-Popsters.
Yeah.
Friends are venues that partner with us to bring comedy shows to them, or organizations, corporate business events, that type of thing. And friends are also the audience members that come and spend their hard-earned money and time with us to laugh. So that's our heart. And so now we're what the fluff.
I just love saying that.
It's so fun. So
is.
WAF Show, you get to experience and rebranding with us over the next few weeks because we are introducing it in May. So here we are.
May is this week, next week.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know.
Ooh.
It's happening. You have not had to go through the rebranding yet, though. That I don't think it will for Prepopsterous. Maybe as the vision gets bigger and you're living in the bigger vision.
I think as we grow and add products, like gourmet popcorn will always be our core, always. But you might see Prepopsterous go from Prepopsterous gourmet popcorn to Prepopsterous confections, something like that. So it's a little bit more encompassing of all the things we do.
Yes, that's right. That's why we're doing FWAF. It's more encompassing of all the things that we do. Yeah. We're very excited about that. And we're glad that you're coming along with us on the journey. Because if you're on our YouTube channel right now, I'm still getting my act together, Laughers. It's not all anywhere near where we want it to be right now. But my husband...
It's going to get there.
It's going to get there. I was just talking to my husband this morning. Like, all right, let's start spending some time to put more of our stuff and align this like we want to.
Yeah.
So
I admire the amount of time and effort. I mean, because you're constantly learning new technology.
Yes.
Whether it's in the studio.
Yes.
On the stage.
Yes.
Recording YouTube episodes now.
I know. I do not know what I'm doing, Laugher. So thank you for your support. I know all the right buttons to push, and I don't know what the other ones do. Okay. That is where we are right now. Thankfully, I do have an editor that helps me to outsource some of this. So between the two of us, this is happening right now. We look forward to the day where I just can show up on set and do this thing.
And just do right.
This
not have to do all the other ancillary pieces.
That's right. I love to be a part of the creation process, though, and coming up with the questions in the show and all of that, the producer side of it. But anyways, thank you again for joining us today. And I want to wrap up with you, sharing with the Laughers how best can they stay in touch with Prepopsterous on social media or otherwise.
Yeah, so you can stay in touch with us on social media, pretty much is where we live, or, and that's where we'll post if we're going to be at an event or something too. So if you're in our local community, you can find us there. So on Facebook, we're just Prepopsterous. So you can just Google that and you'll find us. If you're on Instagram, it's at @EatPerPopsterous. And so those are the two places you can find me. The great thing is by having a brand name that's not a real word, when you type it into Google, we're going to be like the first two pages.
That's right. SEO working for you.
Yes. So we're really happy. But yes, that's where you can follow along with us. If you want to reach out to us, you can certainly reach out to us through the contact page on our website. And you can reach out to us for anything from favors you need from an event, or if you want us to set up somewhere locally at a festival, at a fair, at a pop-up market, you can reach us for all those things through there.
Absolutely. And if you would like to see the FWAF Show tent next to the Prepopsterous tent, you can see us both at one time at the best weekend ever put on by Harrisonburg Downtown Renaissance. And that will be June 15th by the Turner Pavilion, right? I think.
It's June 15th.
We know the date.
And I know it's downtown, and I know it's sponsored by the wonderful people at Harrisonburg Downtown Renaissance.
They're going to enjoy this moment of the podcast. There are friends down there.
We'll be there.
We will be there.
But it's April, and I haven't looked that far ahead. I've got the date on my calendar, but I'm looking forward to it.
That's right. And you'll post about it on your social,
absolutely.
And we'll post it on our social, which is still at X2 Comedy at the moment, but it will change to FWAF Show. So keep following us and all of that. And thank you so much, Tisha. This has been super fun chatting with you about all things Pre-Popsterous popcorn today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Laughers, for joining us. I think it's going to be fun for me to go back and listen to the first podcast I did.
Yeah.
And then listen to this one and just hear the growth, hear the change that I've had in my business and some of yours too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I appreciate you circling back to us and coming to our production space.
I know. It's so fun when we started to do video and decided to go on YouTube. I had to contact you because I thought it'd be so fun to be in your factory now and Laughers could have a visual of your world.
Yeah.
And the popcorn that we love to eat. So this has been super great. Thanks again for coming on the show, Tisha.
Absolutely.
And Laughers, to learn more about Pre-Popsterous, be sure to visit their website at prepopsterous.com. And Laughers, thank you so much for tuning in to the Virginia is for Laughers podcast today. We are grateful for you. Thank you for helping us grow. Please do share and like this video if you liked us and share it with a friend. We would be so grateful for that. And then again, you can go to prepopsterous.com and order that popcorn. So that way you can munch on it when you join us on next week's episode. And lastly, and most importantly, thanks for tuning in, Laughers. Out of all the podcasts out there, you picked us, and we think that's pretty special, just like you. Until next time, keep smiling. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Virginia is for Laughers podcast, brought to you by the Funny Womax and Friends. We'll be dropping a new podcast every Wednesday, so check back for another uplifting episode. Come to a FWAF show or let us bring one to you. To find out more, head to thefunnywomax.com. Be sure to share this podcast with a friend, and until next time, cheers.